After 2 decades of working in healthcare, especially with older adults, one truth has become crystal clear. The vast majority of deaths after age 75 aren't just natural causes. They're the result of specific preventable conditions, health risks that quietly build over time until they reach a breaking point. The real tragedy, most people don't realize what's happening until it's too late, until their heart fails, their balance gives out, their breath shortens, or their memory begins to slip. By then, the damage is done and their options are limited. But it doesn't have to be that way. With the right awareness and daily habits, many of these risks can be reduced, if not avoided entirely. And that's why this message matters. Every small decision you make today, from what you eat to how you move, to the way you manage stress, can shape your future in powerful ways. This isn't about fear. It's about taking control of your health while you still can. Cause 1. Heart disease. Heart disease remains the #1 cause of death for individuals over 75, and yet it's one of the most misunderstood and underestimated conditions in aging adults. As a seasoned health expert, he has seen the same pattern time and time again. People assume that fatigue, shortness of breath, or slowing down are just part of getting older. In reality, these are often early warning signs that the heart is weakening, and those signs are too important to ignore. The heart is a muscle. Like any muscle, it stays strong only if it's used and cared for properly. But here's the problem. Most of the damage that leads to heart disease happens silently, without pain or visible symptoms. High blood pressure, for example, is one of the biggest contributors. It places chronic strain on the arteries, forces the heart to work harder than it should, and slowly wears down the cardiovascular system. The danger? You don't feel it. You don't see it. One day everything feels fine, until a heart attack or stroke changes everything in an instant. Diet is another major factor. Years or even decades of processed food, excess salt, and unhealthy fats gradually clog the arteries and reduce circulation. And contrary to what many believe, protecting your heart isn't just about avoiding the wrong foods, it's about consistently choosing the right ones. Nutrient-rich meals with fiber, lean protein, and heart-friendly fats are essential to keeping the cardiovascular system healthy. Then there's the issue of inactivity. The heart wasn't designed for a sedentary lifestyle. When the body stops moving, circulation slows, muscles weaken, and the heart doesn't get the stimulus it needs to stay strong. The good news is, no one needs to run marathons to make a difference. Even gentle, regular movement, like daily walks, stretching, or chair exercises, can dramatically improve heart function and lower risk. One of the most common and costly mistakes he's seen over the years is this. People assume heart disease is just fate. They blame family history or age, when in fact, lifestyle choices play a far greater role. The truth is clear. The heart responds to how it's treated. And while genetics matter, consistent daily choices matter more. If there's one message he wishes everyone over 75 could hear, it's this. You have more control over your heart health than you think. And the best time to take action, no matter your age, is right now. Cause 2. Falls and injuries. One of the most overlooked but most dangerous threats to people over 75 isn't a disease at all. It's a fall. In just one moment, one misplaced step, one dizzy spell, one slick surface. Everything can change. A broken hip, a head injury, a long hospital stay. And sometimes that fall marks the beginning of a decline that the person never fully recovers from. He's seen it too often in his years of practice. Falls are the leading cause of injury-related death among older adults. They account for millions of emergency room visits each year, yet few take them seriously until it happens to them or someone they love. Here's the hard truth. Aging brings gradual changes in balance, muscle strength, and reaction time. But because the decline is so slow, most people don't notice it happening. They feel steady enough, until one day they're not. Even worse, once someone experiences a fall, or even just a close call, they often become afraid. That fear leads them to move less. They stop walking as much. They avoid stairs. They limit their activities. But this only makes things worse. When muscles weaken due to inactivity, the risk of falling increases. It becomes a vicious cycle, and one that can quickly strip away a person's independence. Fortunately, falls are not inevitable. There are practical, proven ways to reduce the risk dramatically. Strengthening the legs and core muscles, doing simple balance exercises, making small changes at home, like installing better lighting, using slip-resistant mats, and adding handrails where needed, can make all the difference. One more critical point: medications. Many older adults take prescriptions that can cause dizziness, drowsiness, or sudden drops in blood pressure. These side effects increase the risk of falling. Something as simple as standing up too fast and feeling lightheaded is a warning sign, and one that should not be ignored. A conversation with a doctor or pharmacist to review medications could literally be life-saving. Falling isn't just about tripping, it's about strength, stability, awareness, and preparation. After 75, one fall can change everything. But the right steps taken today, no matter how small, can protect independence and prevent a world of unnecessary suffering in the future. Cause 3. Respiratory diseases. Breathing is something most people don't think about until it becomes difficult. And after the age of 75, even a mild respiratory issue can turn into a serious, even life-threatening condition. As someone who's worked with thousands of aging patients, he knows this. Most respiratory decline doesn't happen suddenly. It builds slowly over time, and because the symptoms can seem minor at first, an occasional cough, a little shortness of breath, they're often ignored, but they shouldn't be. One of the most common and dangerous conditions is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease, or COPD. This includes chronic bronchitis and emphysema. In these cases, the airways become inflamed and narrowed, making it harder and harder to breathe. Over time, even simple tasks like walking across the room or climbing a single step can leave someone gasping for air. Then there's pneumonia, which for seniors is far more serious than most realize. It may start as a cold or chest congestion, but because the immune system weakens with age, that infection can rapidly spread and overwhelm the body. He's seen many cases where an otherwise stable senior enters the hospital with pneumonia and never fully recovers. Another hidden danger? Poor air quality. Years of exposure to pollution, secondhand smoke, mold, dust, and even indoor irritants like pet dander can all damage the lungs over time. For those already living with asthma or COPD, these irritants only make things worse. But there's hope and control. Improving indoor air quality, using HEPA filters, keeping the home clean, and avoiding smoke exposure can make a huge difference. And just like every other muscle in the body, the lungs need exercise. Physical activity, yes, even walking, helps the lungs stay strong, clear out mucus, and improve oxygen flow. Sitting too much weakens the lungs, making them more prone to infection and collapse. Vaccinations are another key protective tool. Yet many older adults overlook the importance of staying up to date with flu shots, pneumonia vaccines, and others. These aren't just suggestions. They're essential lines of defense that can prevent hospitalizations and save lives. Breathing should never feel like a struggle. And the truth is, for many seniors, it doesn't have to. Taking action early, protecting the lungs, staying active, and avoiding preventable infections can preserve both life and independence well into the later years. Cause 4. Stroke. A stroke doesn't come with a warning. It strikes fast, and in a matter of seconds, it can change or end a life. For people over 75, stroke is one of the most serious and devastating health threats. But here's the part most don't realize. Up to 80% of strokes are preventable. As someone who spent years studying patterns in aging health, he can say this with confidence. Most strokes don't happen randomly. They happen because of silent, slow-building risk factors that could have been managed earlier. A stroke occurs when blood flow to the brain is suddenly blocked, ischemic stroke, or when a blood vessel in the brain bursts, hemorrhagic stroke. Either way, brain cells begin dying within minutes. The longer the brain is deprived of oxygen, the greater the damage. Some strokes cause mild weakness or confusion. Others result in permanent paralysis, speech loss, or death. One of the biggest hidden threats? High blood pressure. Over time, it damages arteries, making them more likely to rupture or clog. And just like with heart disease, most people with high blood pressure feel perfectly fine until it's too late. Another major risk is atrial fibrillation, AFib, an irregular heartbeat that many older adults don't even know they have. When the heart doesn't beat regularly, blood can pool, form clots, and travel to the brain, triggering a stroke in an instant. But these conditions are easy to detect with routine checkups. And when identified early, they can be managed with medications, lifestyle adjustments, and simple monitoring. Diet also plays a powerful role. A lifetime of processed foods, high sodium, and unhealthy fats stiffens arteries and thickens blood, increasing stroke risk. On the flip side, eating more leafy greens, healthy fats, fruits, and hydrating well can dramatically lower the chances. And then there are mini strokes, also called TIAs, transient ischemic attacks. They may cause temporary symptoms, slurred speech, blurred vision, weakness, but they often disappear within minutes. The mistake people make is ignoring them. He's seen it happen more than once. Someone brushes off a TIA only to suffer a major stroke days or weeks later. The lesson here is simple but urgent. Don't wait. Monitor your blood pressure. Get your heart rhythm checked. Eat smart. Move more. Know the early signs: facial drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty, because when it comes to stroke, every second counts. Preventing a stroke isn't just about survival. It's about preserving memory, movement, independence, and quality of life. Cause 5, cognitive decline and dementia. Of all the challenges that come with aging, few are as emotionally difficult or as life-altering as the slow loss of cognitive function. Memory fades, decision-making weakens. Familiar names, faces, routines, once second nature start to feel unfamiliar. And while many chalk this up to just getting older, cognitive decline is more than forgetfulness. It's a gradual, progressive condition that, if left unaddressed, can take away a person's independence, dignity, and safety. After 20 years working with aging adults, he's seen the pattern far too often. It starts small, forgetting appointments, repeating questions, misplacing keys. But over time, those small lapses evolve. Seniors with dementia or Alzheimer's disease may forget to eat, stop taking medications, or wander into unsafe situations. What most people don't realize is that cognitive decline doesn't just affect the mind. It puts the entire body at risk. When someone forgets to drink water, dehydration sets in. When nutrition suffers, energy and immunity drop. When judgment becomes impaired, so do basic safety decisions, like turning off the stove or locking the door at night. And the emotional toll is just as heavy. As memory fades, so does a person's ability to engage, socialize, and remain part of the world around them. Loneliness and isolation only accelerate mental decline. It becomes a dangerous cycle. But it doesn't have to end this way. The brain, like the body, responds to stimulation and care. He always tells his patients, cognitive health is something you can build, just like muscle. Reading, learning, playing strategy games, having meaningful conversations. These aren't hobbies, they're brain workouts, and they matter. What surprises many people is that physical exercise plays a major role too. Movement improves blood flow to the brain, which supports memory, clarity, and focus. Even light activity done consistently helps protect the brain from rapid decline. Social connection is equally vital. Isolation is poison for the aging brain. Seniors who stay socially active, visiting friends, attending community events, or simply having regular conversations, tend to retain cognitive function longer. And of course, diet matters deeply. Nutrients like omega-3 fatty acids, antioxidants, and B vitamins found in leafy greens, berries, fish, and nuts are proven to protect brain cells. In contrast, diets high in sugar, processed food, and unhealthy fats increase inflammation in the brain, and speed up decline. The key takeaway? Cognitive decline is not inevitable. With early action and consistent effort, brain health can be protected and in some cases even improved. He's seen it firsthand. Older adults who challenge their minds, stay active, and nurture social and emotional wellness often remain mentally sharp well into their 80s and 90s. Looking back at the 5 leading causes of death after age 75, heart disease, falls, respiratory illness, stroke, and cognitive decline, one truth becomes clear. None of these are guaranteed, and most of them are more preventable than people realize. In his 20 years of medical practice, he's seen far too many individuals surrender to the idea that aging equals decline. But in reality, the body and mind respond to how they're treated, even in later years. The difference between losing independence and staying strong often comes down to daily decisions. Not grand gestures, but simple, consistent actions. Choosing water over soda, taking a short walk instead of sitting all day, checking blood pressure regularly, keeping in touch with loved ones, engaging your brain with a new book or puzzle, asking questions when something feels off. The tragedy is not aging, it's waiting too long to care. Most people only act after a crisis, but those who start earlier, even with small steps, often live longer, stronger, and more fulfilling lives. Here's what he tells every patient. Your well-being is your greatest asset. Protect it like you would your home, your family, or your legacy, because in many ways it is all three. No matter your age, it's never too late to build better habits, and no step forward is ever too small. Every decision you make, today, tomorrow, next week, can help you stay mobile, independent, and mentally sharp for years to come. So take a moment now, reflect on where you are, and more importantly, where you want to be. A healthier, stronger future may be closer than you think, and it starts with the choices you make today.